So as President Biden visits Uvalde, Texas, a scene of unfathomable horror, what can he do about this national emergency, this public health crisis in which we find ourselves courtesy of unrestricted access to weapons of war? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So President Biden visited Uvalde, Texas, in the aftermath of the mass murder of elementary school children by a teenager wielding an assault rifle, a weapon of war. Here is the reporting by Yahoo News about Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden's trip to Uvalde. Biden visits Uvalde Elementary School after shooting. President Biden traveled to Uvalde, Texas on Sunday to help console the community as it grieves from and seeks to comprehend last week's massacre at Robb Elementary School. Biden and First Lady Jill Biden quietly reflected outside of the school in front of a makeshift memorial filled with flowers and photos of the 21 victims, most of whom were around 10 years old. Someone shouted, "Do something," at Biden as he departed the church service. Biden responded, "We will." You know, that distraught voice in the crowd yelling at President Biden to do something speaks for us all. And I was certainly glad to hear President Biden respond, "We will." He will do something. So let's talk about what President Biden can do. And I don't want to talk about legislation. I don't want to talk about Republicans and Democrats coming together and reaching across the aisle to pass, sensible gun reform legislation. How well has that worked for us in recent years, in recent decades? I'm not saying abandon talks that might possibly kind of someday lead to some kind of legislation, making America a safer place. I'm not saying we should abandon it, but for goodness sakes, Joe Biden was in the Senate for 112 years? Okay, that's an exaggeration. He was there a very long time. And I think he was probably pretty good at bringing people together across the aisle. But legislation has been a miserable failure for any number of reasons. I want to talk about executive orders. It feels to me like we are living in the midst of a national emergency, a public health crisis, because our children are being slaughtered in Texas. Our black brothers and sisters are being slaughtered while shopping for groceries. Our Asian American brothers and sisters are being slaughtered in their place of worship. Our Hispanic brothers and sisters are being slaughtered while shopping at a Target. Our Jewish brothers and sisters are being slaughtered in the Tree of Life synagogue. Our LGBTQ brothers and sisters slaughtered at the Pulse nightclub. Should we go all the way back to Sandy Hook? Come full circle? Elementary school children slaughtered. Friends, presidents can accomplish a hell of a lot with executive orders. President Lincoln used executive orders to design and implement the Emancipation Proclamation. President Roosevelt issued more than 3,700 executive orders during his presidency to deal with the Great Depression and World War II. President Eisenhower used executive orders to implement desegregation at Little Rock. And yes, executive orders have at times been used inappropriately, like Japanese American internment camps, or Donald Trump's banning human beings, his, hateful, xenophobic, prejudice-fueled Muslim ban. But, enough with the inaction. President Biden should issue 100 executive orders in 100 days to address the national emergency, the public health crisis that we are experiencing. President Biden's executive branch has a lot of really smart people, deep thinkers, big brains, constitutional law scholars. Put your heads together. Come up with a series of executive orders that the president can sign that at least have some hope of passing constitutional muster, because the court challenges will come, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. That's no reason not to take a shot at this. That's no reason not to flood the zone with good to try to protect the American people, because they may be challenged in court. At least come up with some executive orders that would make it harder for an aspiring mass murderer to kill our children without having to reload. There should be 1,000 restrictions placed on the purchase of high-capacity magazines. There should be 1,000 restrictions placed upon the bulk purchase of ammunition. Or how about before somebody buys a gun, they have to show proof of firearms owner's insurance? Or how about you pass executive orders restricting the sale of weapons of war at gun shows? Do something. And the court challenges will come. But think about this, friends. When Donald Trump passed his hate-fueled Muslim ban, he banned human beings, I think within 1 week of being sworn in as President of the United States. What a guy. What happened? It was challenged in court and it was struck down. So what did Donald Trump do? He wasn't going to let that hate in his heart go, that prejudice, that xenophobia. No, he got his nefarious lawyers together who shared his, hate for all things different. And he tweaked and he retooled and he redrafted, and he finally passed his ban on human beings after it was modified, after it was reworked. So he was basically flooding the zone with evil and hate and prejudice. Why can't we flood the zone with good? Why can't President Biden sign 100 executive orders in 100 days trying to protect the lives of the American people? Flood the zone with good. If we lose in court, we take the lessons that were dispensed by the judge when he or she struck down the executive order. We go back, we retool, we try again. Nobody said governing would be easy, but for gosh sakes, do something. Because children are being slaughtered. Do something to protect the American people. Flood the zone with good. Executive orders. Give us a fighting chance. Because justice matters. Friends, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.